Welcome to Ask Dr. Taylor in the DMs. Asia Hudson, producer, and Grant Gilmore, videographer, are joining me from the Ask Dr. Taylor editing bay with more questions from the worldwide online community. I'm ready if you are.
What's up, y'all? And welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. Taylor, where we typically take to the streets and ask random people questions about brain function. But today, as you can see, we have a different format going on. I'm here in the editing bay, where we make all of the magic of Ask Dr. Taylor happen. And our different segment for today is Ask Dr. Taylor in the DMs. You know what that means, right? That means that for everybody that follows us on Instagram or TikTok or watches our YouTube videos, we've allowed them to flood our DMs on Dr. Taylor's page with questions that they want answered from Dr. Taylor. And I am going to be reading the questions and then sending those back to her desk, which is hilariously enough right across the hall. And then she's going to be answering the wonderful questions that we've received in our DMs from our loyal followers. All right, let's get into it. All right, here we go. Our first question is from somebody that is anonymous, and they wanted to know, why do men's brains work differently than women's brains? All right, Dr. Taylor, that's the first one. What's the answer to that?
Although male and female brains are more alike than they are different, they are members of the same species after all, they are not identical in structure or function. Researchers studying connectomes that show how portions of the brain are connected identified several differences. Neuron pathways in male brains tend to run more vertically in each hemisphere, allowing the hemispheres to function somewhat independently. Neuron pathways in the female brains run more horizontally, with more connections between the two hemispheres, so they function more globally. This means that males and females each bring slightly different innate brain skills to the table. Some researchers have said that a healthy male brain plus a healthy female brain working together create a super brain.
We have another question here, and this is from Jacob. Jacob wants to know, what is the best wavelength for your brain to be in, theta, alpha, or beta? Shout out to you, Jacob, because that is something I would have never thought of, number one. And I didn't even know we had all these different wavelengths. Dr. Taylor, what's the answer to that one?
Hi, Jacob. You mentioned 3 of the 5 brain waves. The best brain wavelength is the one that matches what you need to do at any given time. Theta waves provide light sleep with extreme relaxation, which can help trigger the onset of a more restful sleep. Alpha waves are emitted when you are in a state of physical and mental relaxation. Beta waves are linked with the fight-flight response and are emitted when you are alert, tense, fearful, or agitated.
So this question is very interesting, and I did have to censor it because this is supposed to kind of be like a family-oriented, good-for-kids type show also. Definitely adults and young adults are a demographic, but we want the kids to be able to watch too. Anyway, we have a question from user IRO4, and he said, why am I always so, horny? Dr. Taylor, I hope you enjoyed the censored version of that question. IRO4 wants to know why he is so blank horny. So she doesn't know you personally, but let's see what she says.
You're a good censor, Asia. You got a whole new career if you want one. I do appreciate your editorial discretion. My father used to say that using swear words is the quirky brain's way of expressing emotion. I do not know your brain. I can tell you a little bit about brain function, however. Everything starts in your brain. Every thought you think changes the wiring in your brain. It knows what you focus on, believes that is what you're interested in, and will prompt you to think about it even more. If your thoughts involve sexual activity, it may encourage you to become eventually involved with pornography, reading about sex, spending time hunting for hookups, all of which combine to increase your sexual thoughts, which can become an addiction. It's your brain and your life, and you only have one shot at it on this planet. Are you choosing to spend your time in the search for actual or virtual self-gratification?
Okay, I'm going to start this one off by saying, Gavin, I hope that you are okay, because I've never heard about this in my life. And Gavin wants to know, he says, I get pops in the top left corner of my head. A neurologist said it's a misfire. Why do I get those? I hope that you are in great health, Gavin. Dr. Taylor, why does Gavin get those?
That's a great question. I occasionally get pops in my left frontal lobe as well. According to neurologist Dr. Angelita Tanko, during normal brain activity, electrical impulses pass from neuron to neuron to neuron in an orderly and precise fashion. Occasionally, a neuron fires out of sequence, causing a misfire. Seizures can occur when a neuron misfires, and the surrounding neurons fail to contain the misfire. This can allow an electrical storm in the brain. It can be momentary or associated with a seizure of seconds to minutes. There may be many contributors to a misfire or seizure, including a brain abnormality, trauma, inadequate oxygen supply to the brain, fever, drug use such as cocaine, methamphetamine, and even some medications, very low blood sugar, fever, or a psychiatric disorder. More information is available from the Epilepsy Foundation if you're interested.
Throughout all of the times that we've done an Ask Dr. Taylor segment, one thing always comes up. Actually, multiple things always come up. Alcoholism, sex comes up quite a bit, sleep, dreams. But we also get this one that comes up a lot, and it's about aluminum, or if you're English, aluminium. So, Anonymous wants to know, are aluminium products bad for your brain? If you're from England, do not drag me for my accent. I am trying my best. Dr. Taylor, what do you think?
Oh, speaking of accents, I'd love to have an interesting accent, but my brain doesn't seem to want to go there. Okay, although I know of no studies that identify aluminium or aluminum as the major cause of Alzheimer's disease, aluminum has now been identified as a contributing factor in all forms of Alzheimer's. I pay attention. Aluminum is toxic to the brain and is said to increase the progression of the disease in people who already have that diagnosis. Reportedly, elevated levels of aluminum can contribute to the early onset of Alzheimer's, especially when there's a history of major exposure to it, as in those who work in factories that produced aluminum products.
This one is a very relatable question, and this is also from Anonymous. And Anonymous wants to know, does depression have a physical impact on your body? I really think that that's an amazing question, very deep. Dr. Taylor, back to you.
Your entire body is part of the subconscious mind. Depression can impact neurotransmitters, hormones, and other chemicals in the brain. This can trigger physical changes in the body. For example, increased sensitivity to pain, ongoing fatigue, decreased libido, increased or decreased appetite, insomnia, suppression of immune system functions, increased levels of the stress hormone cortisol and adrenaline, and can increase a risk for heart conditions and addictive behaviors.
All right. The conspiracy theorists are going to love this one. And I don't use the word conspiracy theorist in a disparaging way. I honestly love you guys. I think that everybody makes good points. And this question is fluoride bad for your brain? And if you brush your teeth, you would know that fluoride actually is in a lot of toothpaste. Not saying that this user doesn't brush their teeth, but it's a teeth thing. So hopefully you brush your teeth and you're aware of what fluoride is. But let's find out if it's bad for your brain.
A 2017 report did raise questions about fluoride's effect on health, including problems with neurological development. In fact, they reported that prenatal exposure potentially leads to poorer cognitive outcome in the future. I've not, however, read anything definitive since that study.
And that wraps it up for another episode of Ask Dr. Taylor, where instead of taking to the streets, we let you guys flood our DMs. We got so many phenomenal questions, and we're excited to send this to the desk of Dr. Arlene R. Taylor, PhD. Go ahead and continue sending us your questions so we can continue doing this wonderful segment that we love. This extension of Ask Dr. Taylor in the Streets has now gone online. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asia and Grant. And thanks to the worldwide online community for sharing their brain questions. And thank you, our viewers, for watching. Until next time, remember, Confucius says, there are no stupid questions. There are concerns about those who refuse to ask any.